Well, Afghanistan veteran and two-time Bronze Star recipient Pete Hegseth says he is the man to beat Democrat incumbent U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar. The Army veteran is joined in seeking the GOP nomination by former State House Representative Dan Severson. And joining me this morning to talk about his bid for the U.S. Senate is Pete Hegseth. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Let me ask you, you are not alone in this race. Former House Rep Dan Severson, who has held elective office, is also in the race. Why are you more qualified to run against Senator Klobuchar?
Well, I think we're going to be able to articulate the issues in a way that resonate with Minnesotans. We're in a position, my background having led men in combat and also led a nonprofit organization, I understand what it means to look at complicated problems and provide common sense or straightforward solutions to those problems. And we are in difficult times. These are consequential times. You know, gas prices are high. Just in the Star Tribune today, it showed that median household incomes have dropped $9,000 for middle-class Minnesotans in the last 3 years, from 2007 to 2010. I mean, these are really tough times. We need to cut through the muck and the mix and find really simple solutions and I think straightforward solutions that people resonate with, and that's less government, less regulation, letting job creators go out there and create jobs for Minnesota.
Well, let's talk about the incumbent. While Congress's approval ratings, it could not be lower. I mean, I think hovering around 10%, perhaps less. By most polls, or any poll that I've seen, shows that Senator Klobuchar's approval rating is upward of 60%. Remarkable, really, in this time. What do you have to say about that? I mean, clearly, according to opinion polls, this is a very popular incumbent.
Sure. Well, the first thing we're going to do is make a proactive case as to why we'd be a better alternative. But we're also going to remind Minnesotans how she's actually voted. At this point, she has a record to defend. She uses the slogan, common sense solutions, oftentimes. Well, I don't think there's a whole lot of common sense in an 800-page health care bill that creates a lot of mandates and burdens for small businesses. I don't think there's a lot of common sense in bailing out big corporations, but not middle class and small corporations. I don't think there's a lot of common sense in raising the debt ceiling over and over and over again, like she has over her 5 terms in the Senate. So it's about clarifying her record in the ways that she's voted. I don't think most Minnesotans really know that she's sort of said one thing here and gone to Washington and voted with the Obama agenda, vote after vote after vote, and we're going to have to make that very clear.
Right. And you said 5 terms in the Senate, 5 years in the Senate, because this is actually her first bid for re-election. You know, one of the things about Senator Klobuchar, and certainly the biggest news story for yesterday, was the announcement that finally the Stillwater Bridge has been approved by Congress, and this was an effort that she actually worked on with Representative Michelle Bachmann. And Representative Bachmann actually was on the show earlier and thanked Senator Klobuchar for her work in supporting you know, this bipartisan effort. What are your thoughts about that? Because this is somebody who seems to be able to reach across the aisle and work with Republicans.
Sure. No, I think that's a good thing. Reaching across the aisle, working with the other side to get things done is really important. I think, unfortunately, however, on the really big issues, like let's take the Keystone XL pipeline, for example. Right now, gas prices are high. We don't have enough energy solutions here in this state and in this country. And we've looked at her positions, and what is her position on the Keystone XL pipeline? No position. So as much as she's reached across the aisle, she's also avoided taking tough stances on difficult issues. And these are difficult and consequential times. We can't afford, and it's disappointing to have a senator in Washington who looks at tough issues and says, well, I just want to take on some of the easier ones, as opposed to really take, it's a hard stance. People are going to disagree with you if you call for that pipeline or if you don't. I think we need someone that Minnesotans know where they stand and will stand up for.
All right. Many Republicans, of course, are signing on to the pledge, no new taxes, no expansion of existing taxes. Do you agree with that position?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We're not going to sign any pledges. Not any pledges in this campaign at all, because I don't think pledges help our system. They back people into corners. I don't want to raise taxes. I believe lower taxes are better. But I also think we have a spending problem, not a revenue problem. We need to send people to Washington who will rein in the out-of-control spending that rank-and-file politicians have used over and over and over again to increase our debt and deficit. So I wouldn't raise taxes. At the same time, I'm not going to sign any pledges, because I think it creates a barrier for folks to come together and actually compromise when they make a pledge. I'm going to be clear about where I stand and stand by those, but I don't think pledges are the answer.
All right. Well, Pete Hegseth, thank you so much for coming in. We certainly appreciate it, and I know we'll be hearing more from you as this campaign progresses.
Thank you very much for having me.